Well, as we near the peak of fire season here in Oregon, the state's biggest electricity providers are investing hundreds of millions of dollars in wildfire mitigation strategies.
Fox 12's Simon Gutierrez explains where that money is going and how it can help prevent both wildfire damage and prolonged power outages.
So you can see here, blues represent a little bit more moisture.
From a small office near Mall 205 in northeast Portland,
Orange and red is lower.
Steve Vandenberg is watching the weather.
Basically, greens are wind gusts under 35.
Very
Yellows are maybe 35 to 40.
Closely.
This is something called 10-hour dead fuel moisture.
Monitoring daily and even hourly conditions that could impact Oregon's power grid.
We're here to help pull in and generate all of that environmental data and then translate it into some kind of forecast that then lets our company know where the impacts could be, how bad could they be, and where we need to take action.
Vandenberg is meteorology manager for PacifiCorp. After 10 years in the National Weather Service, he's now responsible for forecasting weather and fire conditions for the company's 143,000 square mile coverage area.
The brighter colors represent areas where you could see significantly more growth on fires should there be a fire.
Using state-of-the-art models,
let's say there's a lightning fire, let's just put it right here.
And 30 years of past weather data for the area, Vandenberg can simulate what the fire might do.
It's going to tell us where it's going. So instead of just saying, well, the wind is out of the south and it's dry, it's going to be blowing toward Montague. Nope. It's going to be starting that direction, and then it's going to change direction.
So this is our service territory here.
Across the metro in Tualatin,
what I'm looking at are high-risk fire weather zones.
Jason Mustard is watching the weather for Portland General Electric.
We are able to see when these patterns are setting up days in advance.
Both utilities use the information to protect the state's power grid and guide decision-making during fire events.
How many spares do we think we need? And where do we need to position those spares? Where should we start positioning our crews?
Dan Nunez is wildfire planning and analytics manager for PGE.
We have right now 18 artificial intelligence cameras that allows PGE to automatically detect ignitions and triangulate them.
In extreme danger, the forecasts, models, and AI can help inform difficult decisions, like shutting off power lines if there's a high wind event predicted.
In that situation, if we take it out proactively before that tree branch has an opportunity to come in contact with a line or before a wire has the potential to slap, you've now eliminated that ignition risk. There are definitely protocols in place to proactively communicate with customers in advance of these conditions to let them know it is a possibility.
In other situations, power lines in vulnerable areas can be protected through trimming of trees and brush or upgrades to make them more resilient in the event of a fire.
We're constantly checking our data, constantly validating what our decision models are.
And with wildfires growing in intensity and impact in recent years, staying ahead of them presents an opportunity to minimize the damage they do.
It's clear that we are seeing changes in overall risk, and we're seeing changes in the climate that necessitate a pretty significant and rapid investment in new science and technology, particularly as it relates to understanding weather and fire-related risks.
Simon Gutierrez, Good Day Oregon.
And PacifiCorp has actually made its weather forecasting technology available to the public, and you can keep up with current conditions and look at historical data at pacificpowerweather.com, and you can find a link to that website on our website, kptv.com. Just click on that story.